So, Ms. Randall, thank you for going to Fairbanks to be part of the Alaska Intertribal Working Group. I think every every amount of engagement on the ground is so much more beneficial. I know for certain that you heard what I hear when I am talking to those who are trying to make some headway when it comes to public safety. And when we had Attorney General Barr in the state, his follow-on was to provide some assistance through grants. We explained to Attorney General Garland when he came later that what we need, if we're going to really do these long-term transformational changes, it hinges on flexible funding streams. I think Attorney General Garland seemed to agree with me, and I think that's why he directed the Office of Tribal Justice and the DOJ grant-making offices to figure out, let's figure out what all the options are here, including legislation for improving these funding opportunities. So the question is whether or not you are looking at proposing legislation. We all know that the clock is running on advancing legislation, but are you considering initial consultation on any legislative proposals? And if the answer is yes to all this, I'd like to see where the direction that you're taking with any proposed legislation.
The department is looking at every level, from what can we do right now to improve the flexibility and access to our funds, to what type of legislative proposals might allow us to better streamline and address public safety and victim services. For any big issues, we absolutely want to consult and then, of course, work very closely with your office.
Well, and again, as you're looking, if legislation is going to be one aspect of it, if you are in that position, we would like to see the direction and some proposal before we go on the August break. We all spend a lot of time up in the state then, and knowing the direction that you're looking at would be important. When you think about the frustration with competitive funding, and again, the effort to try to move towards formula grants. DOJ's Office of Victim Services, OVC, Tribal Victim Service Set-Aside Program, is a good example where we have seen that you can actually put this into place. Is there anything in statute that prevents other grant programs from being converted to formula from the competitive, like OVC did with the tribal victims set aside? And is that also in your array of options that you're looking to?
Yes, looking at how we can make these funds more easily accessible, such as through a formula, is absolutely something that we think about. We consulted on it last year, in fact, and have consulted on it before.
What's the status on that consultation?
Our challenge is that there was very mixed feedback from the tribes. Whenever you have a smaller pool of funding, we have less funding available than OVC. That means that there would be a number of tribes receiving incredibly small grant programs, and so opinion varies widely from tribe to tribe, and there is not consensus on doing so. With additional resources, it would be easier for us to convert to a formula.
Okay, well, again, we understand that you're going to have different different perspectives that are going to influence one way or another. I'm trying to make sure that as you are taking these initial steps, again, there is a sharing of information back and forth. I wanted to ask you, Assistant Secretary Newland, in my opening comments, I noted that we had directed the BIA to conduct consultation on the budgetary needs in PL 280 states for tribal law enforcement. You're supposed to report back on the available funding. Can you share with me the timeline for your consultations as we've directed in the Interior bill, and kind of where you are with that.
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair. I don't have that information for you this afternoon. I could likely get you an answer to that by tomorrow morning.
All right. Are you participating in the Alaska Intertribal Work Group meetings as they advance as part of Interior?
I am not, no.
But is somebody within Interior part of that?
I will have to get back to you, Madam Vice Chair. I apologize, I don't have that information.
Well, no, I get it and I understand that, but I'm just looking at there's so much there's so much interplay between Department of Justice, Department of Interior, and Department of Health and Social Services. And we can't have DOJ over here not talking and intersecting with what Interior and DHS is. And so it's a little bit of cross-pollination that is going to allow us to leverage all of this. So I would hope that it's not just when we bring you together for an oversight hearing that you're learning more about what's going on, but that this is actually happening interagency, interdepartment.
And Madam Vice Chair, I can tell you that we do collaborate not only with Ms. Randall's office at DOJ, weekly and monthly meetings with our counterparts at the department on the criminal justice and law enforcement side. That's something that's a priority. And Madam Vice Chair, if I may, just on the flexibility for funding, to emphasize that the President has issued an executive order to direct all federal agencies to make tribal access to funding and grants more flexible, and direct all of us as agencies to work to streamline that process and make sure that funds are available to tribes.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.